thing.
Is it an MLM? Is it a scam? They always say that. I'm like, so some sales jobs are like you get paid to recruit people. Like when I was in door to door, like you get paid on recruiting your team. The caveat is I don't think that's a bad thing. I think when you're a sales manager and you train your team, you should get paid for that, right? You 100%. Should get paid a commission percentage based off of how good they do. But some people find that icky, whatever. Other sales industries like high ticket, you close deals for an online business and you get paid that amount. There's no recruiting. So it's just kind of one of those, I guess, things that people think, oh, it has to be this, but it's really not. When it comes to the actual sales process though, they always say something along the lines of, how do you read people? And so I always say it's different for different types of people. There's 2 different buyers. And I know I mentioned, old, young, male, female, all these things. Those are kind of archetypes, but the 2 really solid types of buyers are emotional and logical. So some buyers buy purely on emotion. And these are the people where you want to build on the dream, build on the pain, have them visualize what success would look like. Logical buyers, you do that. Like I'm a logical buyer. If someone was like, how would this make you feel? I would be like, no, why would you ask me that? Like someone asked me that. I was like, okay, we're done here. Logical buyers, they don't trust a salesperson because a salesperson's trying to sell them. Like they kind of know the game that's being played, right? Like a lot of people that are listening now know. You will all turn into logical buyers now. Logical buyers, they only trust one thing. They trust data because data doesn't lie. So your job as a sales rep is to kind of clock, is this person going to buy off of emotion or are they going to buy purely off of logic? And if so logical, you need to rely on numbers, which is, hey, if you don't do this, this is the opportunity cost over X amount of time and X amount of time. Your revenue decreasing. If you're selling a fitness program, the weight that you're gaining, whatever. What's on the side of not making a decision. Then, if you make this decision, what's on this side? And these are the numbers that you set with them on a realistic goal point that has to be in reality for them. It can't just be, I want to make $1 million a month, right? It has to be a realistic goal. So you basically say, crossroads, these are the numbers if you don't do this. These are the numbers if you put in the work and you do this. Now it's up to you. And that's what a logical buyer will like.
What is the best sales pitch that's ever been done on you?
It happened like 5 days ago.
No,
actually,
really?
Yeah. Well, maybe it's just the last one I can remember, but it was so good. So it was an event planner. I don't know if you know him. His name's Icon. Okay, he does a lot of events for like speaking events. But we're on a sales call with him. And he's going over the price of all of these little things that it's going to take to put on our event. And it starts at 1.9 million of all these little things, the venue, the speakers, all the things. And then he's like, okay, let's go down the line and try to figure out like how to shave a couple bucks off here and there. We got it down to like 1.6. Then I'm like, well, we'll see how much your fee is. Cause I'm like, I don't know if we're going to go with you yet. And I know he's probably charging a commission on the event, blah, blah, blah. Then he makes me and my business partner double down on the 1.6. He's like, okay, so 1.6, is that doable? Like, is that okay with you guys right now? And we're like, yes, but we'll see how much your fee is. Then he goes to the next slide and he goes, my fee's $0. And we're like, what? Like, I don't want you if your fee's $0, right? He goes, no, it's actually already in the 1.6. And he just whited it out on the Excel sheet. And so we just didn't catch that it was already in there, but it was already in there. So he made us double down and confirm that the 1.6 already worked. And then he was like, all right, you guys already agreed to my speaking fee. It's already in here. We're all good to go. You can put your deposit in now. And we did.
Sneaky.
So yeah, it was very sneaky, but I liked it. And so I think when people are like, what makes a great salesperson great? It's something called the pattern interrupt, where you have to be different than every other person that's pitching these people. So everybody sounds the same. Everybody does the same questions, the same word tracks. You have to be different. So you have to find little unique ways to position your value, but also position the close and different objections that make you stand out. And as a salesperson, he was like, I was scared to pitch you knowing you're the sales girl. And I was like, yeah, I was definitely going to try to negotiate your percentage down. But I respected it. He did it in such a creative way where I'm like, you know what? Fuck yeah, for sure. Like, I like that. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing I think people don't realize too, is that if you're going to be a top tier salesperson and you surprise and delight someone with the way you sell them, they are going to thank you for the close.
Exactly. When you're a trained sales rep, people will respect it. Like, everybody knows what you're doing, but when you're good at it, people do love to be sold. I take that back. People hate to be sold, but they love to buy. Yeah. So if you disguise it in a way to where you're like very straight up, this is what I'm doing, like it's very black and white. Here's what it's going to cost in order to do this. People love to buy stuff. They're either going to buy from you or somebody else, so it might as well be you.
If somebody is terrible at sales, like somebody's like, I'm a bad communicator, I'm bad at sales, what are typically the main reasons why no one will ever listen to you or buy from you?
Because they only rely on the words and they sound like a robot and they sound like just some NPC. Like you might as well be AI. You would be so surprised. I've hired people that are, they can talk to people. They're beautiful. They're charismatic. But when it comes to getting in front of a client, they sound monotone like a robot and they're asking surface level questions, which create a surface level buyer. No trust is built. Versus if you're someone that just can talk to people and treat it like a FaceTime call with your friend, talking through a decision, that's who does good in sales, is just who's genuine. So
yeah, it's true. I have a little short king that's like one of my best sales guys too. I love that. We love a short king, and he just is really caring about people and curious.
Yeah. Curious,
super curious.
So I always have my sales girls take a sticky note and write 3 letters on it: WHY, why, and they tape it to stick it to their computer. You will be so surprised how many deals you could have gotten by asking that one simple question, why, when someone tells you something, because it allows them to go deeper. I was auditing one of my girls' sales calls and she was talking to a stay-at-home mom, and she didn't clock that the husband was a big block in this. He didn't want her to do anything, all these things. If she would have just asked that one simple question, why, or tell me a little bit about Nick, was the husband's name, she would have gotten the deal because she would have been able to preempt the objection instead of getting it at the end of the call and not being able to do anything about it.
Yeah. I want to talk about shadow influences. So I know a lot of times in more sophisticated institutional sales, the person that you're talking to is not the person who is actually the buyer.
Like a gatekeeper?
Yeah. It might be a gatekeeper, or they might not even tell you. So for instance, we do a lot of institutional sales. We, sell investments to big companies, and nobody wants to feel like they're not the decision maker. They want to feel like they're the important one. And so you might not even realize you're not talking to the buyer. You might be talking to the user, aka the wife, but the buyer's the husband. And you don't even realize that you need to change the sales pitch because you got to talk to this other person. How do you figure out who is really in charge in a sale?
So if it's different between a gatekeeper and a non-decision maker. So a gatekeeper is like a receptionist. When I did door-to-door sales, there were a lot of house managers in big mansions, or maybe their kids answer the door or whatever. A gatekeeper is different because the sale with the gatekeeper is you're not selling the product because that's not their decision to make. You're selling the chance to pitch the decision maker. Versus if you have a non-decision maker in front of you, you should never reveal price without having a decision maker present with you. So you have to use the price as leverage in order to get the decision maker on the call or in front of you. So it's like, I would love to have all of us like right here. That way, when I go over the price, we can all ask our questions together. I'm sure he or she has a ton of questions. Also, never assume that the girl is not the decision maker, because nowadays I feel like they're literally the decision maker more often than not the guys. And so never assume that someone's the decision maker if they're not, or vice versa. And like you said, always make people feel important and make people feel like you're a helper. Because if you're a salesperson, they won't let you near the decision maker. But if you're a helper and you're trying to help people, then they will guide you to that decision maker.
What about an everyday trick? Like, is there anything you do to kind of get your way at the airport, at restaurants, like in just the day-to-day as a sales hack?
Ask. Literally just ask. Nobody asks. I was late to my flight last night in order to get here. And if I were to miss that flight, it was at like 10 p.m. and I got in at like 2 a.m. this morning. Oof. If I were to miss that, I wouldn't have been able to be here. So I get to Miami Airport. Security line is packed. And most people would just wait in line. They would be scared of everybody else in the line. Like, oh, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. When you're in sales, you realize that people are just people. And like, you're really not that important, and people don't really remember you. So I basically just went up to the front. I was like, I'm so sorry. Would it be completely crazy if I cut you? I have a flight that's leaving right now. I'm so sorry. I hate to do this. Would it be completely crazy if you were to allow me to cut you? And she was like, well, no, you're totally fine. That's fine. And did everybody in the back be like, this brat. Probably, but I don't care because I'm here now. So people underestimate a simple ask. And it's like, you don't need to have the confidence to ask. You just need to ask. And the more amount of times that you ask for different things in your life, whether that be a raise, a job, cutting someone in line at the airport. I did the same thing for my Uber driver to get into the express lane so he could go, even though we were stuck in traffic. I was like, would it be completely crazy if he got into the express lane? And he was like, no, but can you tip me? And I said, yeah. So you just have to ask people, and you'll be surprised the boundaries that you can cross when you just are super blunt, human, and just ask.
Yeah. One of my favorites is also repeating somebody's name. Mm-hmm. Nobody asks for a name anymore. Mm-hmm. You go to a restaurant, you go to a bar, and all you do is like, oh, hey, yeah, I'd love XXX. Sorry, what's your name?
Exactly.
It's so powerful. I was at this event the other weekend with a bunch of kind of famous, fancy people, and they were bigger and fancier than I was. Mm-hmm. But my husband and I started talking to the guy who was kind of sitting around the VIP area. Exactly. And so when it got situated, I'm like, hey, Jeff, what's going on? Can we get in here? What are we thinking? Right. And he's like, yeah, just go ahead. Mm-hmm. Everybody else is waiting, including the dudes who had mm-hmm. paid for all the stuff. Mm-hmm. And I remember one of them came up to me what'd you do? I'm like, I talked to the motherfucker. I used his name. That's it. Mm-hmm. We don't have to be so crazy about what sales is.
Also, labeling. Labeling's an amazing tool that you can use in any area of your life. It's the whole metaphor of, if you want your dog to be a good dog, you tell him he's a good dog. If you want your boyfriend to be a very thoughtful boyfriend that gets you flowers all the time, give him praise when he gives you flowers and say, you're so thoughtful. I love you so much. I love how you treat me, because he's going to treat you better the more empowerment you give him. Same thing that you do with your clients. Whatever your archetype of a buyer is, maybe it's someone that moves fast, is very good at decision making. If you're talking to a business owner, praise how, I love how you take care of your team. The fact that you're even on the sales call in order to help this specific process that you don't even necessarily deal with. You really want to help them. That way your whole entire business can run. I love that about you. Praising those little types of character traits and labeling them. That way, when it comes to a buying decision or an ask or whatever you need, they will rise to that occasion, because people want to rise to the occasion of the labels that you set on them. Whether that be a good partner, good dog, sweet mom, amazing, thoughtful friend, or when you're in a new city and you're meeting someone, you're like, everybody here is so nice. Everybody here is so open. The amount of people are so sweet. Versus if you were to talk to someone and you're like, people here are terrible. You're probably going to get treated terribly, right? So you have to be very careful about the words that you use around people, because whatever you use around people and the expectations that you shift on them is how they're going to treat you, whether that's in sales or not.
So do you think you have to be really careful about how you label yourself?
Yes.
Too?
So getting good at sales makes you roll your own objections in your own mind. Everybody has objections. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this position. I don't deserve to get paid more. I'm going to ask for this and they're going to say no. You learn to take a fearful language. This is objection handling at its simplest forms. You take a fearful language, you neutralize it. Ask a couple questions. Why am I feeling this type of way? Okay, reframe. Okay, well, I'm feeling this. It's actually this. For example, in objections, are you scared to pay the price or are you scared to pay the cost? Do you want time or do you want information? Do you want to come to your spouse with a problem, or do you want to come to your spouse with a solution? So it's different reframes that you can do in your own mind. I think we're stepping into a new age where people don't like when you lead with names. Yeah. They don't like when, the worst thing you can do in a conversation is, I know so-and-so, or, I just helped so-and-so. People don't like those names anymore. It comes off super salesy. And why should you lead with the value that you've given someone else or that somebody else can give you, when you should just lead with your own value? And so it's kind of the same thing where it's like people see New York Times bestseller, and yeah, that gives you a ton of credentials. But I do think we're also in an era where sales, business, and marketing is taking a more authentic approach, where people love when you just do things yourself and when it's not perfect.